Hi, so it's now Sunday, and we've been in quarantine here in Mallorca for 3 weeks. And so this is the third weekend, and time has flown. It's actually quite amazing how much time has flown. I'm looking back and I'm almost surprised that it's 3 weeks. It feels shorter somehow. I think that's probably because so much has happened in 3 weeks that it hasn't actually really been boring. Even though we've been stuck inside and we haven't been allowed to go out, there's been a lot to deal with, to process, like mentally and emotionally, a lot to look at on a spiritual level, and just like a lot to do to just in terms of maintaining a safe living space, and doing all of the things that we're being advised to in terms of cleaning and safety. And yeah, so that's been really surprising to me actually, how little time I've had to sit and procrastinate or worry or get stressed. And that's been a blessing. And I really appreciate that. And I think it's because after the initial first few days of just blind panic and going up and down on an emotional roller coaster, I decided to dive into the experience and to use it as an opportunity for growth, for healing, and for evolving, like rebirthing a new me essentially. And I think a lot of people have done that, and I think that when we are allowed to finally eventually step back outside again, not only will the world be very different, but I think our worlds, our own personal, internal worlds, and the worlds that we allow ourselves to build physically around us will be very different too. I think our priorities will have changed. The things we value will have shifted, and maybe when we look to what we spend our time doing and to who we spend our time with, that will be drastically different, and some things will fall away, and I think that's a healthy thing and a good thing. It certainly made me realize who is and who isn't important in my life, who's a keeper and who isn't, essentially. The relationships that I can count on in times of crisis, and the relationships that just didn't show up, and how I felt about that. There's been a lot of grief and hurt in that respect. There are some people that I really hoped would use this as a golden opportunity for healing, and for reaching out, and for taking responsibility for things that may have happened in the past, and using this as a platform for moving forwards, and leaving all of that behind and forging different relationships and different bonds. And that hasn't happened. And I guess it's made me realize, well, if we're in the midst of a pandemic and any of us could die at any second, we don't know that. We're not in control of that right now. And still, even with that going on, you can't let grievances or grudges go. Then it's really never going to happen. And my yearning for it to happen, my wanting for it to happen, my wasting energy and time pining after that, is just a waste of time. It's never going to amount to anything, and that's been really hard actually. Like I have felt that really, really heavily. But then there are other people who have really, really stepped up, and that's been beautiful. And so like people that I haven't even necessarily known for that long, have been there, in very strong and fulfilling roles for me, and that's lovely. And I guess I know where I am important and who I am important to, and I really hope that that's happened for you too. And I hope that you've seen beautiful relationships grow throughout this period, and you've realised that maybe people that you didn't give enough time to previously are worth that much more effort now. People that you didn't know if it was safe to trust yet because you haven't known them for so long, now you know that you truly can, and now you know that, oh well, you know, they'll probably be there long into the future for you. So yeah, so that's great. And then there are other people, I guess, who have always been busy in the past, and who are still busy. So beautiful and lovely as they are, you kind of know what those relationships have to give and what their limitations are. And yeah, so I've learned a great deal in that respect. I've also learned a great deal about myself and my own personal boundaries and limitations, and what I am and am not prepared to give. Yeah, it's been interesting, and I've enjoyed spending time with myself. Once I got over the initial, I don't want to spend time with myself right now because my head is a crazy, scary place. I've really enjoyed, spending time with myself, grounding, becoming more embodied, working out, things to do for exercise inside when I can't go out with really limited equipment, and that's been really great and really beautiful. And I'm really grateful for the fact that in my bedroom I have this really big wardrobe. It's like 4 wardrobes, so it takes up one wall, and every single door has got a mirror on it. So when I try and do my indoor PE, I can look at my posture and alignment in the mirror and correct myself as I go. And also the same when I'm doing yoga practices, and I haven't done yoga for a long time, so I'm quite rusty. I can check my alignment in the mirror, and that's been a real blessing, because beyond that mirror I literally have no equipment. I mean, I have a very thin yoga mat which goes on a ratty Gaussian carpet flooring thing, so you can feel the lumps and bumps through the mat, and I never got around to getting a thicker mat to work in this apartment. Now I'm really annoyed about that. I don't have any yoga bricks, which would be really useful, or weights, so I've been exercising with tin cans, which is funny and interesting. But yeah, so it's made me think a little bit outside the box, and I've become creative in that sense with doing the exercise, which suits me because I'm a creative person, so anywhere where I can apply creativity is a good thing to me. So I'm kind of, I feel like, yes, I'm still here and I'm doing pretty well, and I'm pretty proud of myself that after 3 weeks that I haven't lost faith, I haven't lost spirit, and I'm okay without going outside, which is mad. And I do miss outside so much. I miss the fresh air, I miss feeling the sun on my face, and it's pretty warm here already. It's been a really mild winter, and we went through a little bit of a cold patch at the beginning of the quarantine, which I think was really useful and helpful, because it was like horrible and rainy outside and cold, and so it got me over the whole, well, I couldn't even really go outside happily today anyway, and now the sun's come out and it's really warm. It's about 20 degrees, and yeah, I'd love to be walking with that on my face outside, but it's not possible, and I'm looking forward to when it is. So yeah, I hope you are all well and surviving, and I hope you are finding beautiful things within your quarantine space as well to keep you occupied. I'm finding it's a great comfort to watch cookery shows in the evening, because they are light-hearted and they have nothing to do with current affairs, and they ignite my imagination and give me ideas for things, but they also give me a sense of unity and communion with the people in the shows. They're like competitions and things, And so I feel part of a greater community when I'm watching these shows, and that's been really nice. And yeah, and podcasts with people just talking about their own personal experiences in this time and sharing advice and tips, and that's been a great comfort too, and useful, positive. And not watching the news has been extremely helpful. I think if I could give anyone one piece of advice for right now, it is really, really limit your exposure to the news. And if you don't need to watch it, if you can give that job to someone else in your family who is maybe stronger and better equipped to deal with it, then do that. Because yeah, I've realized that as a person who doesn't watch the news ordinarily anyway, because I find it too heavy, trying to keep up with things, not necessarily watching it, but following, you know, the news stories and just getting information from feedback and from different people doing little videos from where they are about what's going on. And a lot of these people are medical people, you know, who are on the front line of this. That was all a bit too real for me. And it got a bit too heavy, and I think I've realised that for right now, even if perhaps this is a little irresponsible, I need to live within a little cocoon, the little cocoon of my apartment, where I can control most of what is happening. So long as I clean and disinfect everything that comes in before I put it away, so long as my partner, who's the one going out and doing the food runs, is really, really careful and just leaves all of his clothes at the door in a pile on a big sheet, which then goes straight into the wash, so nothing that's been outside then comes inside, and then he goes straight away and showers. And he's wearing mask and goggles and gloves when he goes out. It's like, so long as we do these things and we take these precautions and we really do ramp it up so that we're being as careful as we possibly can and as OCD about life at the moment as, like, you know, these are things that I never imagined doing. I thought I was pretty clean and tidy and neat, and like hygiene conscious prior to this. And, you know, I know that when I used to be out in public and use a public bathroom in, say, a cafe or something, people would look at me and think that I was weird because I wouldn't touch anything unless I had a piece of like hand towel in my hand, and I would then use the hand towel after I had like washed my hands, and I would wash my hands for like longer than anyone else did. I would use the paper towel to then open the door to get out, because it seems ridiculous to me that, you know, that you wash your hands in a public bathroom and then you have to open the door to get out, and not everybody washes their hands, so the door handle's not necessarily clean. But all of these like precautions that I used to take, just not touching things in that respect, and then sanitizing my hands afterwards, and sanitizing the table when I would get to the cafe in the first place before I would sit down and eat anything, because, you know, the tables aren't cleaned that often here in a lot of places, or not that thoroughly, and so I would like take my own precautions and make sure my space was hygienic before I put my hands on it, touched it, put any of my belongings on it. And people would look at me like I was really strange, and I would think, okay, well, I'm just being careful. It makes sense to me that I don't, you know, want to risk catching anything. And I don't know who's used this table before, or where they've been, or what they have, perhaps, or anything. And now it's like, wow, all of those things now seem really basic and really like not enough. And, you know, people are doing way more than that and being way more careful than that. And it amuses me, but it also comforts me, because I think, wow, now, like, you know, the majority of the world are going to start thinking like me, and no one's going to look at me like I'm strange anymore. Everybody is going to be doing these things. And I think, you know, in some way that's great, and in another way it's really sad that we have to be that careful and we're going to be that fearful for a while to come. I for one do not like being that fearful in my home. I've never like sanitized my products when I bought them. I've just brought them straight home, put them straight in the fridge or straight in the cupboard, and not really bothered about it so much. And you know, I've like rinsed vegetables under a tap to, you know, just get the exterior grime off. But I've never been scared of catching anything off these things before, and now suddenly I kind of am, because, you know, there are enough people out there who I respect saying that we could possibly catch this from these fresh products, especially if we're not cooking them, and that we need to be careful. And I guess because nobody really knows yet what is and isn't fact and truth, it's better to take precautions. So I've been taking precautions, and I've been trying to incorporate this like new routine of keeping things clean into part of my routine. And I do it every day in the morning, but I do it while listening to a positive podcast with something to do with self-development and growth. And for me, it's a kind of meditation. And my cleaning product, which everything is like made at home, so there's no horrible chemicals in it, but it is quite, you know, it's alcohol and vinegar and a little bit of water and essential oils. But I try to put in nice smelling essential oils so that it's more of a pleasant experience, because prior to this I would only use vinegar, water and essential oils, and I would take a lot of time and effort to thinking, you know, what smells did I want in my product. Now I'm having to be a little more strict with how I'm using these essential oils, because I know that all I have is all I have. And we are going through cleaning products a lot more rapidly now. Like, we're going through a litre a day of like a spray, whereas before, you know, the spray bottle would probably last about 4 days, 5 days maybe. So yeah, it's better, you know, I'm doing my best to keep it fun, to keep it light, and to keep it like a happy, joyful experience. And every time that I'm cleaning my home, I like to think it's like I'm loving my space so that my space can love me back, and I'm thanking my space. It's almost like a bit of a spiritual, religious process, like an act of devotion to the space that is keeping me safe right now. You know, this beautiful home that I'm living inside, that is like a womb space. It's keeping me safe until it's ready to come out. And I think that if we can apply some kind of thinking like that into all of our practices, whether it be cleaning or cooking or exercising or sewing masks, or reading or watching TV or Netflix, or if we can make it into a spiritual practice, so that everything we are doing is an act of love, either towards ourselves or towards another we are living with, or towards the space we are living inside, then we can make this experience a lot deeper and a lot more beautiful. So I wish you a beautiful Sunday. I wish you health and peace and calm and productivity, and I will see you next time. Take care. Bye.